Hello guys, and welcome back to Strategic Command World War II, World at War. In the last episode, we've moved over into the month of March, took care of the Soviet Union, India, and parts of the UK. We aim to be able to finish up the rest of this episode, so without further ado, let's see if we can make it to April. Looking at Greece before anything, the WDF army has a pretty good shot on this enemy Italian corps, and hell, we can do damage to this Italian corps as well. I guess you could say that we can hit unimpeded now. The snow is gone. And with that, let us attack. 4 damage dealt by the WDF army. Pretty good, pretty nice. Let's get the tanks doing 2 damage. Sadly, they were supposed to do 3. Another 2 damage, and taking damage. These rolls are not going very well for them. Annoyingly, Montgomery is including the Sudanese in his fucking HQ. And then the Sudanese HQ isn't doing anything. We could take the desert field artillery here and bombard the enemy Italian positions to get them out of their entrenchments, and given the situation, we might as well hit them another time. We can now do way more damage to the enemy Italian corps. Let's go ahead and attack it with the 10th Army and the Rhodesian Special Forces, making it run out of its mountainous position closer to Belgrade. The Greeks down here have liberated, or I guess occupied, Bulgaria. It's sad that it doesn't get marked as liberated, considering they were forced to join by coercion. We do need to make sure the Germans cannot come down this way. Leaving some corps behind would probably work out pretty well for that. The Macedonian army here is certainly good to go somewhere else. Supply over here is a little bit limited, unfortunately, for all of our units. The spread has not quite been keeping up. So we'll take the Athenian corps, and we'll send that over. We want a stronger one down over here for sure. This is our next other strongest corps. It's very well upgraded, and it's very much on the front. We do have some other units that can be moved around here that have strikes, including the Sudan Defense Force. For now, let's just march the tanks up into these Croatian hills, march our Sudan Defense Force Corps up northwest here, and attack the enemy corps at the, what is this? The Bihaks. The Bihaks, which now belong to me. So we will go ahead and step on that, and we will find the Garibaldi HQ over here near Croatia, which will hopefully fall just as quickly as everything else is falling. The Platt HQ is going to move forward with the line, because maybe if it's closer to the front, it will end up taking better control of the Sudan Defense Force Corps. Maybe, I don't know. Who knows? But we have some units here that can definitely get some stuff done. Let's move the Brits forward and attack this enemy corps. 1 damage dealt, and it has retreated even further. Even further. We'll send the Rhodesians up northwest. We'll send this army up to here. We have Greek corps, which I guess I'll send to go try to finish this corps off. And another dead Italian corps. Gotta love it. Now, the Greek HQ is going to move up to right here, because it's going to try to spread its supply a little bit better for its recovering units. This corps will come around to the mine, where it'll be real close to the Greek HQ. We can take the British corps here and move that forward as well. Our artillery is not capable of moving very far, having fired its shots already. The Hellenic fighters here are not going to really be needed for much. Supply on these planes is just awful. But maybe if we move them up now, they'll get prioritized. I wish I understood how the manual attachment worked, because it wasn't doing what I wanted it to do. I know that much. Maybe if you do it without moving anything? I don't know. I'm not sure. We'll move the TAC bombers forward. We'll move these fighters forward. The Hellenic fighters will, well, I guess they're attached, so they're not really having much of any problems, so I guess I could just leave them be for now. I believe everyone else here has moved, so they certainly cannot get any upgrades. This anti-tank doesn't have supply to get any upgrades. The Macedonian army is capable of moving northwest, so is the Epirus army. We'll move the Epirus army northwest. We'll move the Macedonian army northwest. We'll move the 3rd Corps down into Sofia. 2 corps keeping this shit under control for now. And the anti-tank back here does not need to stay here, but, you know, just in case, just leave it there for the time being. Germans are still in 2 Bulgarian towns. They moved an HQ specifically over here, but we're not going to worry too much about this pocket again. We're just kind of holding them in here. If they try to strike out, they're not going to get very far. Sweden is now leaning towards the Allies. We're going to go ahead and spend another 50 MPPs on that. We're still at a 40% chance to move them. And they are 3% leaning towards us. Nobody else has any diplomatic shits or anything to worry about. We are now also going to go ahead and recruit another Canadian army. This one can actually afford mobility in production, I think. Yes. And so we're going to get that. It will arrive 1 month after, so 1 turn after the first one we just ordered last turn. So we can give that one its mobility while we're waiting for this one to arrive and transport them both over to join up with the Canadian HQ at the same time. So let's go ahead and purchase that army. Very expensive, but it'll go very well with the Canadian Corps and the Canadian tanks that are currently present. Enough for the Canadian HQ to take care of while the Brits take care of the Brits. Get all the South Africans ready for their very expensive transports, of which I won't be able to move all of them at the same time, even though they're all just corps. The UK only has 2 amphibious transports available at once. We'll give this the elite reinforcements it can get. That's also pretty expensive, as would upgrading this HQ. That would be 75 MPPs. We'll go ahead and give it its mobility. Mobility is becoming fairly important. We're keeping up with the pace of the war. The Kanga Special Forces can move up over to Wewak and get it fully secured, and maybe we can eventually get that into Transforce, but the UK right now only has 2 long ranges it can use, and we're nowhere near getting amphibious warfare to level 3, which is unfortunate, but it's what we have to work with. So with that, it's very clear the UK is out of MPPs, and as far as I know, it's mostly out of things to do aside from sub-hunting. Yeah, I guess we do need to do sub-hunting. Why is there so much up here? Wasn't there... I guess no, so the stuff went northeast, so it would be over there by now. The Americans are also getting pretty close. Pretty close. I'm afraid to move the Americans into the Gibraltar, but we can definitely start getting Americans over here. Might as well. Now, where's the other one? 3rd Army into this big naval formation. Not going into Spain. Bradley HQ and these other armies are capable of getting out pretty far into the Mediterranean, so we're going to want to expand our net here, so to speak. We're also going to want to get these other carriers back into some port where they can go ahead and recover. This one was one we were sending back. Let's put it back into fighter mode. I had to put that other one back into fighter mode as well. This one can get all the way up to a port right now with this starting position, so that's nice. The Sheffield and the Triumphant, they are... they can have some upgrades against subs, but it's really nothing that we can afford now that we've spent most of our money, naturally. This Triumphant can get down here as its max range. The Sheffield can likely get in a much better position, so we will end up getting it in that position, but not just this instant. We will expand, like I was saying, to get closer. We can naval cruise directly into the Italians when we do go to land, so that's something that will be nice. So let's move the heavy cruiser forward, just by having this here. This is pretty protected. We can leave the subs here to serve as a bit of a guard, so we can actually move this up and expand this. Alright, cool. Now let's see about getting this all forward. Ideally, we want it as far forward as possible without risking it too much. I'm going to have the HQ itself going into the port, so ideally it would be safer. The 2nd Army is going to go just south of it. The 1st Army is going to go just next to it. Ideally, we could get something blockading over here. We have so many battleships, man. Oy vey. Battle cruisers. I guess I could send a battle cruiser around here. Yeah, I wouldn't be in too much danger. We have another battle cruiser that we'll put up front as well, and then I think the rest of this is just battleships and carriers. So let's send these battleships forward. Let's send these carriers forward. All 3 of our carriers up here. Prince of Wales will move forward. What else? The Valiant will move forward. How far can this Sheffield go? Pretty far, pretty damn far. We can block a lot of this stuff off pretty well. We will take the Norfolk heavy cruiser and we'll move it forward for sure. We'll go move it towards Algiers specifically, and then fill that in with the Sheffield from the west here. Alright, now the Americans are set up there. That's pretty good. We do still want to send this rocket artillery. I don't know. We don't have any more long-range transports we can use, so this might just be a normal transport kind of thing. Looks like it can get some upgrades anyway. I'll go ahead and just give it its upgrades for now. It was likely purchased without those a while back when we didn't have all these. I'll upgrade the Eisenhower HQ as well because they're not going anywhere. Now for the sub-hunting. Wait, none of these have their upgrades either, which is a shame. Found you! Die. Submarine dives from attack. Oh no. Oh no. And then what's this one? Something that I would not have been able to bomb without access to Ireland. Getting Ireland could have been a really helpful thing, but I just didn't decide to do that. Oh, here's a real injured one that we failed to damage at all. Nice! No damage. Sad. Let's head up to this sub. Attack. Alright, 2 damage. Finally doing something. We have the naval number superiority, and we want to utilize that. Sail you right up. Come on. Ugh. We're not getting any damage in. Can you hit down here? Sadly, no. Sadly, you cannot hit all the way down here. They're just a little too far south. I bet they know this is here. I wouldn't be surprised. Fucking cheating AI. Let's move the Columbia Destroyer heading up northeast, as well as the Ass Destroyer. The Montgomery can get its upgrades, except it can't afford it right now, so... What I'll have this do instead is just naval cruise northeast now that it is at least repaired. It can get its upgrades at a later point when we have more points to spend on that kind of thing. I believe we're entering spring, so the UK should start getting more money after this. I don't think the Allies need to blockade the port of Bordeaux anymore. I think that's pretty much not necessary at this point. So let's go ahead and put this bitch in silent mode and then just start slowly sailing it this way and see what kind of trouble we can get into. Well, I could send it north. It's a little too late for that. But I could send it north to hunt this like the salmon sub's doing, but at this rate, this won't last too long. I still haven't really had the money to put into the Finnish stuff because I'm prioritizing just these more important fronts. That's the thing. There's so many fringes that World War II has fought on in real life, but this campaign has just gone so well, I haven't had to fight on those fringes. We took Africa like no problem. We saved Greece and kept a war in Europe. Brest was given to us by partisans. Instead of having to put all the effort into all this other stuff to weaken Germany from the outside in, look at what we've been able to do. We've just been able to smash from the outside and then just bam, kick some ass. It's awesome. Well, we know there's submarines over here, but nothing we have to worry about. China! China, China, China! Alright, let's see. What do we have? What do we have? Well... We do have the ability to give this army its mobility and other things. However, we're going to want to move it further, is what we're going to do. We're going to move the 41st Army closer, and we're going to move the 42nd Army way out of the way so it just has a long distance in order to work with here. The entrenchment here is back up a little bit. We will go ahead and arty that, sadly not dealing the damage it said we would. We're going to attack with the Special Forces, dealing 3 damage and taking none. Wish I had a better front with which to do more damage, but I do not, sadly. Looking at how well defended everything here is, I'm going to assume it's going to be impossible for me to take Tokyo, at least unless I use Special Forces. Because Special Forces can land, still have supply the next couple turns, and then go into amphibious transports right next to where they are, land again, and then have supplies again. It's something I think only they can do, I'm not sure. But without Special Forces, like if I landed armies here, they'd just be stuck. Special Forces, they don't actually need a port to go ahead and reboard amphibious transports. That could be where America's transports here come in handy, I guess. We could also not do something that crazy because if we did land over here, we could be certain that they would move other units to protect their capital. I assume they have some semblance of knowledge about how important it is to protect their capital. Looks like the 23rd Army can get a real good hit in on the 4th Garrison. Let's go see if that's true. Yep, completely wiped them out and opened up the city of Osaka to us. Now, Who can make it to Osaka? Like, nobody? How are we even gonna get there? I can't even force march my way in. So they'll probably just move something else there, which is sad. Sad that that's how that will go. We'll reinforce this tactical bomber. There's not even a way to navally land there either, because these ports are in the way. That really sucks. Supply over here is not good enough. Our units are just not in good enough of a position. Well, we can at least bombard this heavy artillery. It's the zones of control that make this particularly difficult. We can go ahead and hit the enemy artillery with our weaker armies up front. But he's supported by artillery, so, you know, hopefully that means something good. A supply up here, still terrible. Still terrible. Rather than start reinforcing this army on the spot, let's go move it out of the way and make room for this other army that's actually in a much better position. That can hopefully get up to the front sooner rather than later, as the 23rd Army is going to need to back up for sure. Supply here, even after taking Hiroshima and Nagasaki, is really not the greatest, unfortunately. So pushing through here is definitely proving to be a problem. I still really don't know what the fuck we are ever going to accomplish with these two armies on the long-range amphibious transports, but if an opportunity does pop up, we will be able to find it. So for now, let's get them into more opportune positions. Namely, let's send one down to Hiroshima, where it could just chill out in the port waiting for an opportunity, and the other can go down to Nagasaki waiting for the same thing. Maybe we'll see an opportunity at Sendai, Niigata, Tokyo. I doubt Tokyo. They'll probably leave that defended to the last man. But if we, I don't know, we're getting really close to getting Osaka or something else, we could just land one army from the side, and then maybe that would help, maybe that would work. For the time being, it's not really going to do very much. We do have the Tang HQ and the Sichuan Army. The Sichuan Army. Well, we can only deploy over here, unfortunately. We'll go deploy this right over here for the time being. I guess it should be fine over there. As well as an HQ! Well, I guess you go there. I don't really know what to do with you in the meantime. Why did I put you there and not, like, here? I thought that would be next to the port. I don't know, whatever. I'll fix that later. I don't know where it's even going. China can do some more research. We will go ahead and give them some indie tech research they still have. Another 175 research they could afford to do. What should I have them do? We could go for ground attack weapons. That might help in the long run, mayhaps. Well, we'll go ahead and put that in the research. Research is now maxed out. 150 MPPs remaining. The bombers, the medium bombers, can get over here now. I'll have to go somewhere that actually has supply, which looks like is going to be right here, next to the other bombers. At least that means they'll probably have range. Elite reinforcements for the Flying Tigers. That's something. I'll take it. There's nothing else to do with the rest of China's money. America has some new medium bombers it can deploy. I don't really know what to do with these now that my plans keep changing, but we'll go ahead and just send them to Hawaii for now, near Honolulu. Decent place to put them. I'll have to operate them to get them anywhere anyway, which is an unfortunate thing you have to deal with as America. We can research more on long-range aircraft, because apparently that's a tech that we finished, which means all of our aircraft can probably be upgraded now. Yeah, let's go ahead and start passing some upgrades out. More long range is always good. Here's something I love about maritime bombers, is that the strategy I was talking about here, look how possible it is. With all these upgrades, they can see so far if you could just place them around these islands. But it has to be specifically maritime bombers that do this, because they're the ones with all this range. Nothing else has range like this, as you can see by looking at these ones up here. You could give them their upgrades too. But that's where hard limitations to units comes at a bit of a pain, because you can't get as many as you want. You can only get like 4. If you turn off the hard caps and use soft caps, then you have to pay more and more for each additional one, which is unfortunate. I chose to leave the hard caps on for this playthrough because I thought the AI would be bad with them. I thought they would waste a lot of money on units. And that might be true. From what I read, it's certainly true. However, I actually really want to know what you guys think. Do you think the hard caps are a good idea in PvP? Or do you think soft caps, where, you know, you pay 10% more for each additional unit type, should be allowed in PvP scenarios? Or do you think in PvPs we should just have it so that it's like the hard caps and only the hard caps? Because I'm not really sure how to do that, to be honest. So I'm definitely curious to know what you guys think. I'm going to pass out some more upgrades, but not everybody can get these upgrades, unfortunately. I guess I can pass it out to this strategic bomber. The strategic bomber, I'm sure, would have some pretty good fucking range. Yeah, I mean, whew, if we were closer here, we could start strat bombing Tokyo and stuff like that. Looking at America's navies, let's go ahead and reinforce the Aylwin destroyer. Let's go ahead and reinforce the Brooklyn light cruiser. The Nautilus sub can GTFO, head on over to Marcus Island, and do whatever the hell it's going to do over there by Japan. This carrier can get the long-range aircraft upgrade. Let's go ahead and give that to it. The same thing goes for the other carrier. A lot of upgrades we can hand out right now. Upgrades that could be handy in the task that we are about to set ourselves to. A lot of upgrades to pass out to the navies for sure. We got a Tuscaloosa heavy cruiser that can go ahead and be repaired, so we'll put that in port. All these ships have, oh yeah, AA and ASW defenses that can be applied to them. So let's go ahead and overhaul America's Navy. A very expensive process that will make them far more survivable against the actual threats that Japan has remaining to offer. Submarines and aerial units. So definitely get these. We will take the 4th Marine Division Special Forces here, and we're going to force it out this way. Leave it somewhere similar to where we left this one, the 3rd Marine Division Special Forces. I don't fully know what I'm going to do with this yet, so I'm just going to go sail this over to Wake Island, where it can chill out in the port. I might go for any we talk again. That's a national morale objective. Maybe I'll get them over here and try that thing I was saying with Tokyo. I'm really not sure about that, because that's probably suicide without naval support. Technically speaking, if they only have like a garrison or something over here, it could be possible with enough carriers to completely destroy it, regardless of it being max entrenched. But that's an if. That's a maybe. I don't think I know enough about the game to guarantee that level of performance. At the very least, we got upgrades on everything that needs upgrades, and that still leaves me with 424 MPPs. Even though it probably won't be needed, I think I'll go ahead and get my carrier fleet recruiting another one that will arrive in September 1944. Again, I really doubt the game will go on that long, but just in case Japan is that much of a holdout, what will we need to actually bring them down? Special forces, probably, and carriers for that support from offshore. Destroyers, to a lesser extent, as well. But might as well get it building intermittently with all the upgrades that we have right now. That has one arriving in March 44, one arriving in September 44, and plenty of special forces coming in. We will now have 4 carriers by the end of this process. And hopefully all that stuff combined with the special forces and stuff that we have on the move will be sufficient. Let's see, let's move the New Orleans heavy cruiser over hither. New York battleship over hither, I guess. The Navy's pretty much just upgrading, has not the most amount of places that it can actually go for these upgrades. Technically speaking, these islands can be used. So anyone that just needs an upgrade and not anything else can go to these locations and get their upgrades. So we can send like a battleship down here to Mahuro. The Chicago heavy cruiser can go down to Kwajalein. The Leary destroyer can go down to Roy Namur. Let's see, do we have any more of these ports open? No. Wake is now hiding a long-range cruiser. Well, this could be a way to cheat getting some more upgrades for more of our ships. So that's a way to do it. Level 5 can pass on upgrades. Somers can go up here to Midway and get its upgrades. Yeah, this works. We'll set these subs into silent mode and then have them start creeping up on Japan. Don't really know what they can do. Maybe they can blockade to some extent these ports. Don't know if that's really possible. But I can sail them up here to try it out. And then with that, that's everything we're going to do for this turn. So let's go ahead and hit end turn after zooming in. And see what the Axis have in store. Soviet morale boosted by the capture of Warsaw. Spain moves government to Burgos. Oh, so they're still in the game here. Ooh, okay. French partisans disrupt supply. Nancy, that's always good. Allies, Venezuela moves 21% towards the Allies. Woo! Finally moving at least a little bit. Australia, UK convoys raided. Commonwealth Party gains ground in UK, winning their first election. Ooh. ASW, warfare, tech, production, tech. Ooh, USSR finally got mobility. Maybe a bit late to really apply that, like put that into practice, but yeah, nothing out of the ordinary here. Let's see how the Axis chooses to strike out with their dwindling ability to do so. Reinforcing in Berlin makes sense. Some amount of operating happening. Look at all these subs running up here. Oh my god. They're totally avoiding the plane that's up in the north in Iceland. Totally avoiding it. They have moved that army onto Osaka now, so that'll be fun. The Chinese are pretty well held off in the current locations, but you can't hold off forever. Eventually, I will get overwhelming firepower over here. There's nothing you're going to be able to do about it. I don't see my subs, like, raiding or anything, but I do see them getting bombed by medium or maritime bombers, which I did expect to happen, but I'm testing things, and I figured it wouldn't hurt too much to test at the moment. Germans running bombing over by Greece. Planes intercepting and their escorts. Hurting what looks like the 10th Army? Oh no, that's a corps. That's a corps. British corps. Also trying to bomb a Soviet army outside Berlin. Still failing to hurt that artillery up north. Alright. Germans striking out in Yugoslavia, failing to do much. Striking out from Hamburg, failing to do much. It's a very upgraded paratrooper, might I just add. Oh, you're moving! You don't have any supplies still, but... Alright. A railed and anti-air down here. Okay. Still heading further north. That's fine, I'm not using that convoy, so have fun up there. Woo! What is all this? Attrition losses! Yay! Norway, German convoys disrupted. Nice. And that's all their moves. Okay. They're not really hurting me much. They're more just holding out from me is all they're accomplishing. Nothing that surprises me in any of these reports. Yeah, I know pretty... Oh my god, dude, I forgot all about this fucking destroyer down here. Holy shit. Let's go ahead and reinforce that. I put it here so it could get up to 8. I forgot it was here. It's been here for... like 3 turns or something like that. And we are now in April 23rd, 1943. The Japanese are definitely being very stubborn holdouts. This submarine move of mine sure didn't really work out, I'll tell you that much. I don't know what to do with the subs otherwise. The subs are not really needed over here except for, I guess, guarding our other ships. So they don't really need to be up here. They can't do anything. So I guess I'll hunt. Force march this one, quote-unquote force march, and get that moving somewhere that it can heal. The others just need to stay out of sight, yet somewhere where they can support our forces, our naval forces. So I'll get them moving southeast where they'll actually be needed. It's looking pretty good. Yeah, definitely victories in the bag. Spain had to move their capital. Germany has Berlin surrounded. Mussolini, his time is coming. And Japan, stubbornly holding out, but again, every inch we make, we get closer to Tokyo. 35% national morale on them, 39% on Italy, and 83% currently on Germany. Let me know when you guys think this is gonna end. When do you think we're gonna actually pull off the victory? Because I have no idea at this rate. But for now, thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.